Hey everybody, welcome back to Horror Trans. My name is Stephanie Bree. I am a transgender woman and I talk about all things horror. And for this week's Horror Icons, we're tackling one of the greatest of all time. This is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We are talking about the character as depicted in the Joss Whedon serial drama TV series, not the prequel film that predates the series, nor the comic books. We're just talking about Buffy from the TV show. The other incarnations of Buffy will be separate videos for another time. So I just want to put that out there. Most likely either a rent or buy in regards to the film, and probably a podcast topic for the comic books, if I ever feel like it. But we're not talking about Angel, because Buffy wasn't hardly really actually in Angel. Angel was a spinoff. Buffy had her own show to run. She didn't have time to appear in David Boreanaz's inferior, but not so inferior as to be unwatchable spinoff. I will say Angel is inferior to Buffy. That's not really up for debate in my mind. You can debate it all you want in the comments, but I'm not going to respond because I'm just going to assume you're wrong and move on. That being said, let's talk about Buffy. So as depicted in the television series, Buffy is, I believe, a 16-year-old cheerleader from somewhere in California who transfers to somewhere else in California. And I apologize to the Buffy nerds for not having my lore 100% because it's been more than 10, 15 years since I've watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV series. So it is not fresh on my mind. And I don't do research for these videos because I'm not Norm the gaming historian or what culture or anything like that. I'm just me. So I just talk. Sometimes I just blow smoke up your ass, but you already know this if you're a subscriber or regular viewer of this channel. That being said, Buffy is the so-called chosen one. They don't really call her the chosen one. They call her the Slayer. But I'm going to use the word chosen one because that's the trope. And that's what she is. She's the chosen one who is pretty much elected by the universe. They don't really get into the specifics, which is infuriating to me, but it is what it is. To fight the forces of evil, who are basically demons who, when they possess a human body, they turn that body into a vampire, which is not your typical Hollywood vampire lore. But it is what it is. That being said, they do tend to have the typical Hollywood vampire weaknesses. Sunlight kills them, stake through the heart. They are held at bay by magic, as well as, Catholic symbols or religious symbols. Things of that nature. I don't remember, so don't scold me in the comments, excuse me. I don't remember if garlic or holy water has an effect on them or not. I just don't remember. That may have been a plot point. It's been so long. What I do remember, and we're here to talk about Buffy, not the TV show. What I do remember is Buffy is a cheerleader, and she is the stereotypical dumb blonde ditzy cheerleader at the start of the show, but she's also, got some attitude. She's, tough. What she does, her strength is she surrounds herself with people who are, in some respects, smarter or more clever than her, or able to see problems from a different angle than she is. She's not the brains of the operation. She's the weapon that is used to kill vampires and other monsters. They have a group of people that they refer to as the Scooby Gang who assist Buffy. Buffy does have a typical teenager story arc. She wants to go to school and be good at her, you know, in her grades and classes and extracurriculars. She wants the teachers to like her. She wants the other students to like her, but they don't. She does want to be a cheerleader here as well, because she was previously. But she struggles because she's not the popular girl in this school because of what happened at her previous school. And the rumors that fly around that. Now, Buffy also, in typical teen drama fashion, because this is a teen drama, it's not a CW show. It's actually a Warner Brothers WB show. Because it predates the CW, but it's the same thing. It's the same network, same people running it, blah, blah, blah. It was just a rebrand and some change of, stockholders and etc. Business bullshit that doesn't really matter. So, yes, it is your typical CW show or WB show from back in the day. So she does take an interest in a vampire by the name of Angel. And he is at first a love interest of Buffy's, and then later a rival of Buffy's, and then an enemy of Buffy's, and then an ally of Buffy's, and they just sort of bounce around with the will they, won't they trope. Will they be good? Will they be evil? Will she kill him? Will he turn her? Etc., etc., blah, blah, blah. So, it goes through the typical teen drama bullshit that you would expect from a teen drama. And Buffy goes through the whole range of emotions. However, Buffy isn't entirely your typical ditzy dumb blonde cheerleader. This is her cover, more or less. She does prove her intelligence in later episodes, as well as her cunning. And she does prove her heroics and her bravery throughout the series. And she earns the viewers, respect as a superhero over time. And she also does a really good job fostering her friendships with Willow and Doofus. I forgot his name. I apologize. It didn't stick in my head because he's a doofus. And Giles, the librarian. And then other characters come and go. But for the most part, she does a good job protecting her friends while also relying on them for their specific expertise as needed for individual episodes to help her solve the problems she can't solve on her own. For example, Doofus is better with computers, so he tends to do a good job with computer-based episodes and research. Willow is an aspiring witch, so she tends to help out with magical stuff. Giles is your stereotypical know-it-all British fuck who has the entire Encyclopedia Britannica in his head, as do all stereotypical know-it-all British fucks. So yeah, he's got the air of arrogance about him that rubs me the wrong fucking way. Obviously, I am not a fan of the Giles character. But Buffy does, to an extent, somewhat trust Giles, while also maintaining an air of skepticism of him and outright defiance at times, because she sometimes feels she knows better. Sometimes she does. Sometimes she makes big fuck-ups that gets everybody in trouble. Sometimes she gets people killed, herself included. Yeah. And then when they do the timey-wimey, time vortex, Doctor Who bullshit retcon of, oops, we forgot you had a 13-year-old sister this whole time, midway through the fucking series, Buffy is at first unsure of her new reality and skeptical enough, even though everyone else is reassuring her that she's always had a sister. She does eventually figure out that no, something fishy is going on, but she still latches on to her younger sister, and they have a bonding process where they become sisters. This does play out later on in the series. And there is also Buffy finally, the finale of the fucking series, realizing that why in the God's name would you have one teenage girl fighting the entire forces of evil at a time? And she figures out a magic spell of sorts that calls and summons all the future Slayers simultaneously so she can have an army of Buffys to take out the forces of evil, which is literally what they should have fucking done from goddamn day one. So this middle finger is for Josh Whedon and his oops, I'm a dumbass, but hey, people like pretty girls bullshit, because that's the only reason why a lot of people watched Buffy, because Sarah Michelle Gellar actually is physically attractive by most American standards. Buffy herself is not immortal. I did say she dies. They go through a rigorous process to bring her back to life, which does, in fact, break reality, and they have to repair that break in reality as a result. And because she died, it did inadvertently trigger the calling of her successor. So there was a period where you had Buffy acting kinda sorta loosely as a mentor to the new Slayer, also kinda sorta as a, teen girl rival to the new Slayer, and also kinda sorta get the fuck out of my way, I'm the Slayer, you're the has-been bitch, get out of my way kind of situation going on. So yeah, teen drama, like I said, it gets complicated and messy. But overall, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a relatively enjoyable show, at least by 90s teen drama standards, and I have to emphasize 90s teen drama standards. It's not as well written as CW DC shows or even Riverdale. And it is not, contrary to what people will tell you on the internets, as well acted as those shows either. It's barely a notch, maybe a millimeter notch above Saved by the Bell level of bullshit acting. Just more on the phony drama side than the bullshit comedy side. So, in some respects, it's more along the lines of the Degrassi melodrama, but not quite on that level of, well written, well directed, acted, etc. Because Degrassi is the shit. We all know this. You know it, I know it. I mean, come on. Whereas Buffy is just like, pretty goddamn good, but it's not as good as Degrassi, let's be real. But it is better than Saved by the Bell, but don't tell anyone I said this. Eek! Okay, other than that, Buffy is not an incredibly complex character. To be fair, she is a typical teenage girl with a lot of weight on her shoulders, which she does overcome, but she also has to balance having a regular, normal life, which she sucks at. She's not the worst superhero female character by any stretch. She definitely belongs in the canon of female superhero characters, as well as horror icons, which is why I'm doing this video. However, unfortunately, because it is a teen drama made for TV on a television network that is targeting children, well, preteens and teenagers, presumably, there's no goddamn gore in this whole fucking show. This is your typical made-for-TV fluff. And so Buffy, while she does get her share of kills, it's mostly she stabs a vampire with the stake and they just turn to dust in her hands, and that's it. Nothing gory at all. As far as scary goes, yeah, Buffy is a pretty scary show at times. But it's also kind of a, they're going to win at times too. Because they're not going to kill off the titular character. Even though they did, they immediately brought her back to life. So it was one of those, oops, fake out, sorry, haha, we got you kind of deals, even though we all knew it was coming. I mean, come on. Buffy, her biggest flaw, I will say, is her emotions. She is emotionally driven. She's a teenage girl, so this is to be expected, obviously. So you can't fault her too much for that. But she does put the entire world at risk to get laid, unfortunately. To have a fling with a really hot vampire dude. Which is not her best judgment. Let's be real. But hey, you know what? David Boreanaz as Angel is hot as fuck, so we can forgive her because, you and I both know we would all be getting down with him back then, and I don't care what your gender or identity or orientation is. He's hot as fuck. Don't tell me he ain't. Alright, that's all I got to say about horror icon Buffy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.